Putting a pause on the demolition for the redevelopment of Ontario Place. A group fighting the project forces the province to halt construction at the site pending a decision from the Superior Court. Good afternoon. Work at the waterfront attraction has stalled after a group called Ontario Place Protectors won a court injunction.
Construction won't resume before a one-day hearing scheduled for next week. CTV's Beth McDonald is live at Ontario Place to bring us the very latest. Beth.
Nathan, a group interested in preserving Ontario Place has taken its concerns to court over the way the Ford government has handled the redevelopment of the site. Now, as the Superior Court looks at the case, construction has stopped. Scaffolding is up around the pavilions and construction appears well underway at Ontario Place, but now there's a legal challenge putting the work on hold.
Judges are given certain powers. And unfortunately, there's a strong view that a lot of those powers have been eroded or taken away by some of the legislation to bring in this water park. And that's simply not constitutional in many people's minds.
The group fighting the Ford government is called Ontario Place Protectors. They also say the land Ontario Place is on doesn't belong to the government, it belongs to the people.
And that creates essentially a trust. And unfortunately, many people believe that trust has been breached by some of the steps that have been taken.
The Ford government has a plan to redevelop the site, which has been underutilized for years, bringing a large spa and the Ontario Science Centre to the site, along with public space for everyone.
Fundamentally, I think what lots of people have been calling for a long time is for the government to just comply with the current rules. Those rules have been developed over several decades about how we treat our environment, about how we treat our cultural and heritage resources, our crown jewels. And unfortunately, the government has said we're not going to use those rules.
As the court weighs its decision, construction has been halted until July 19th. The lawyer for Ontario Place Protector says while construction work has been underway, the buildings and the trees that people are mostly interested in have been preserved. Reporting live, I'm Beth McDonald. Michelle, back to you.
Thank you, Beth. And still ahead, the LCBO is heading into its second weekend with its stores closed as the strike by unionized workers continues. We'll have the latest on the labor dispute coming up a little later in the newscast.
And we have more news in a moment, but first a live look outside right now. Mainly sunny skies, temperatures recovering back to seasonable. Just a lovely Friday. So far, so good as we look ahead to the weekend. Jessica Smith is here with a look at the current conditions. Hey, Jess.
Hey, it's hot, it's sunny, it's beautiful. After such a soggy mark to the middle of the week, in some places in southern Ontario seeing upwards of almost 100 millimeters of rain. Here in the city, a little closer to 50, 60. We're getting a break, right? We have some sunshine out there, not much in the way of active weather for the GTA. A few light showers in and around that extreme southwestern corner. Now, as we make our way throughout the day, we're climbing to around that seasonal mark right now. We're sitting kind of in that mid-20 range, feeling into the low 30s. And it only gets hotter as we head into the afternoon. The good news is there's a little bit of a breeze, but it won't do much to kind of cool things down. The humidex value is still pretty high. Coming up, I'll have a full look at your long-range forecast as we step into the weekend. But right now, back over to Michelle and Nathan.
Thank you, Jess. A year after she took office as Toronto's mayor, Olivia Chow is still riding high in popular support.
It's been a tough term, though, for Chow, who's been tasked with steering the city through financial hardship. CTV's Natalie Johnson has this anniversary interview with the mayor.
1 year into her term as mayor, Olivia Chow is often still a fan favorite.
We love you.
Beyond the walls of City Hall.
We're so happy that you are our mayor.
Oh, you want me to do it? Yes, I'm good.
Her selfie game strong after taking thousands of them so far this term. Now 27 floors up above at the top of the tower where the politics play out.
Magnificent roof we have.
Chow is looking down and looking back on the year that was.
It feels like a year.
It was on this day 1 year ago that Chow became Toronto's 66th mayor, pledging to build a more affordable and more caring city.
The success is really hearing from the people, that they feel that we are making a little bit of difference, making their life a bit easier.
But taking office at a time when city infrastructure was starting to crumble.
We don't spend enough dollars on maintaining things, right?
put added pressure on the administration to find the maintenance money fast.
City Hall here in front of my office, if you go down there now, is cordoned off because last Monday when it was pouring rain, literally buckets was coming down.
Our building is not in the best shape.
The mayor taking this video of the damage, a reminder on her doorstep of all the things in this city that still need a fix. The Gardner, perhaps the most obvious of them all. The aging infrastructure getting the attention it needs, but the outcry over the paralyzing impact on Toronto traffic has been a challenge for Chow.
The rebuild is taking time. We are speeding it up.
The mayor not revealing specifics of the plan that she says is still in the works with the province.
We'll have a package of things.
Is it fair to say that the package will accelerate the schedule?
Of course, we are looking at speeding things up.
The upload of both the Gardner and the DVP to the province as part of the so-called New Deal brokered with Queen's Park in the fall is among the mayor's biggest victories so far, proving what is politically possible across party lines. The move frees up close to $2 billion for investment in the TTC, roads, parks and more, though Chow insists the record-high 9.5% property tax hike this year was still necessary to sustain the operating side, at a time when the cost of living for taxpayers continues to rise.
There were a few that said, ooh, it's hard, right? And yes, I inherited the $1.8 billion budget deficit. We have to pay our way. If not, we'll just get deeper and deeper into the budget hole.
But Chow says the toughest file of all for her this year was one that was largely beyond her control as mayor.
The war in Middle East, because I'm just a local mayor. I have no impact whatsoever. It's hard because the anguish and the fear that I've felt by so many spill over.
Chow, though, has earned respect as a listener and a negotiator, successfully securing millions from Ottawa for housing needs and refugees, still making her case for new subway cars for Line 2.
We're just beginning to get the city back on the right track.
In the meantime, smaller wins over everything from potholes to patios, library hours and a TTC fare freeze have helped keep the progressive popular. Working against the clock of a shortened term, Chow says there is still much more to do when it comes to transit and housing.
It's just beginning. Let's just keep building on it.
1 year into Toronto's top job, 2 more to go.
Bye-bye.
Natalie Johnson, CTV News.
And the mayor was joined by 2 city councillors today as they tested their culinary expertise while promoting Summerlicious. Mayor Olivia Chow, alongside Councillor Shelley Carroll and Amber Morley, visited Veloute Bistro on Lakeshore Boulevard in Etobicoke. The restaurant, along with 200 others, are participating in Summerlicious, which offers preset menus for lunch and dinner. The promotion runs for another 9 days, and the city is encouraging everyone to take advantage.
Summerlicious is about supporting our local restaurant industry, but it's also about whetting your appetite. We make it easy for you to dine out. We make it easy for you to access it all because it's all in one place.
Summerlicious runs until July 21st.
Well, summer's in full swing in the city, which means a ton of events which will involve everything from food to art to music. The Outdoor Art Fair is taking place at Nathan Phillips Square all weekend. Little Jamaica Fest takes over Eglinton Avenue West, while the Festival of India will have some festivities on Center Island. Also this weekend, the Beaches Jazz Fest, Salsa on the Beach, which is at Woodbine Park, and Toronto Fringe Fest has shows this weekend. And of course, with many events around the city, there are some corresponding road closures. Tomorrow, Yonge Street will be closed between Edward and Queens Quay between 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. That's for the Festival of India. And on Sunday, between 1 a.m. and noon, the eastbound lanes of the Gardner will be closed between Humber River and the Don Valley Parkway. And northbound lanes on the DVP will be closed between the Gardner Expressway and Eglinton Avenue East. That's for the Toronto Triathlon Festival.
The city says construction on the Gardner reached a major milestone this week. Crews installed the first of the new precast girders on the south side. Girders are large horizontal beams that support the elevated roadway, and they are essential components of the rehabilitated structure. The city says replacing girders is complicated and mostly takes place out of sight. These photos show the initial stages of the installation. City staff are also presenting plans to speed up construction of the 3-year project. They're presenting those plans to councillors later this month.
The city set up a dedicated team to field questions from residents after thousands didn't receive their water utility bills in recent months. It means they must now catch up on missed payments. The problem's related to water meters. The city says the meters are working properly, but thousands of units that transmit usage numbers to the city have failed. This is affecting more than 140,000 customers, and the number is expected to rise make that. Toronto Water staff are now working on a repair plan and also the building mess that has been created.
That is part of what we're going to put in place, is working with our residents. That's what we care the most about, is trying to help them through this. We have to work together, right? This is an issue we're going to have to manage for several years. And so we will work with them on repayment plans that make sense for them. And all of those measures are being put in place right now.
The city says it'll take 2 to 3 years just to replace the water meter transmission units that have failed, and up to 4 years to replace all of them. They're advising residents to call 311 with any questions about the units and their bills.
The speed limit on stretches of Highway 401 and 403 has been raised to 110 kilometers an hour. A 35-kilometer stretch of the 401 from Highway 35 to Cobourg, as well as on the 403 from Brantford to Hamilton and from Woodstock to Brantford, will see posted speed limits of 110 kilometers an hour starting today. Parts of highways 406, 416, and 69 will also see the speed limit boosted.
The SIU's released its findings into a deadly crash in Scarborough back in March. The province's police watchdog was called in to investigate a crash at Markham and Milner on March 13th that left a 19-year-old dead and a 70-year-old man in serious condition. The SIU says the 19-year-old was driving a Mercedes-Benz SUV that police identified had been stolen from Peel region. When police began to pursue the driver, he fled. At times, he drove nearly triple the speed limit at 140 kilometers an hour. The teenager then ran a red light at Milner and Markham and collided with another vehicle. The SIU determined police did not commit a crime during their chase, nor did they contribute to the fatal crash in a criminal manner.
Some scary moments at Canada's Wonderland when a guest of the amusement park fell from a ride. York Regional Police say they received a medical call to Wonderland at around 2:45 yesterday afternoon. A park spokesperson says the guest fell from the Swing of the Century ride and was conscious and breathing when they were taken to hospital. The extent of their injuries is not known at this time.
We're heading into the second weekend with LCBO locations closed after thousands of employees walked off the job last Friday.
The union says it's concerned about the Premier's plan to expand sales of alcohol into convenience stores and big box outlets. CTV's Janice Golding is live with an update. Janice.
Hi, Michelle. As you can see, the store behind us is closed with the LCBO strike dragging on as workers protest the province's decision to allow for the sale of premixed drinks as well as beer and wine at smaller retailers. The doors to the province's 680 LCBO stores are still closed. The first LCBO strike in history now entering its second week with 9,000 unionized workers off the job.
It sucks for consumers who want to enjoy their summers and whatnot.
I like sometimes cold beer and that's over.
OPSEU, the workers' union, says they are concerned about Premier Doug Ford's plan to allow for the sale of beer, wine and premixed drinks like Mike's Hard Lemonade at supermarkets, convenience stores and big box outlets. OPSEU's chair saying the move would threaten thousands of jobs.
I do feel bad for the workers, you know.
That's something that has to be resolved. I really can't form an opinion with respect to that because I haven't thought it out.
OPSEU says the LCBO currently generates $2.5 billion in revenues for public services every year. But if products go to an estimated 8,500 new private retail locations, it will mean less work, fewer jobs, and lower public revenues. Wine is still being sold at grocery stores, but consumers we've spoken to say it's actually pretty hard to get your hands on because many of the shelves are bare. Reporting live, I'm Janice Golding. Now back to Nathan.
Thank you, Janice. A province-wide fire ban will take effect today at noon local time in British Columbia.
Are preparing for the possibility that wildfire starts will increase in an accelerated manner from this day forward.
150 blazes are now burning across the province, and about a quarter of BC's 2,000 firefighters are on scene. Nova Scotia is sending a 21-person crew to help. Unseasonably high temperatures have raised the wildfire risk, but most of the province will see seasonal temperatures today, except for the interior and southeast. The fire ban's intended to help prevent human-caused fires.
In Nova Scotia, emergency alerts have been issued in 4 counties after more than 100 millimeters of rain fell in just a few hours. 3 people had to be rescued from their homes. Some others were left pumping out their basements after the remnants of Hurricane Beryl drenched the region. Many drivers are dealing with flooded roads and washouts, and the province is warning about the possibility of flash flooding.
In the Middle East, Israeli forces have left some sections of Gaza City where officials say the bodies of dozens of Palestinians have been recovered. Civil defense in Gaza says about 60 bodies have been found so far. The Israeli military said it could not comment on the discovery. It follows days of bombardment and fighting in what Israel says was an effort to find Hamas militants who had regrouped. Israeli forces remain in other locations across the city. They're warning already displaced residents not to return to their homes.
Joe Biden is traveling to Michigan today, one of 3 states his campaign says offers the clearest path to victory in November. The visit follows the U.S. president's closely watched news conference at the NATO summit. And once again, Biden sought to allay concerns about his ability to serve.
The best way to assure them is the way I assure myself. And that is, am I getting the job done? Am I getting the job done? Can you name me somebody who's got more major piece of legislation passed in 3.5 years? I created 2,000 jobs just last week. So if I slow down, I can't get the job done. That's a sign that I shouldn't be doing it. But there's no indication of that yet. None.
Biden also defended his foreign and domestic policies. But today, the New York Times is reporting that a pro-Biden super PAC will freeze about $90 million in pledges if he remains on the presidential ticket. Last night, the U.S. House Democratic leader expressed what were described as perspectives and conclusions from caucus about a path forward during a private meeting with Biden.
SpaceX's Falcon 9 rocket has experienced a rare failure as it attempted to haul a batch of internet satellites into orbit. The first leg of last night's mission appeared to proceed smoothly, but the second stage of the rocket failed abruptly. It's designed to fire up after the first stage falls away and propel the satellites to their final destination. The cause of the malfunction was not immediately clear. The Falcon 9 powers satellite launches as well as trips to orbit for NASA astronauts.
In the UK, Princess Anne returned to official engagements today, less than 3 weeks after she suffered a concussion. The younger sister of the king spent 5 nights in hospital following what Buckingham Palace said was a minor head injury on June 23rd. It forced her to postpone planned engagements, including a visit to Canada. Today, Princess Royal attended an equestrian event in Western England. She has been a patron of the charity for more than 5 decades. Jess.
A beautiful afternoon ahead of us, but there is the slight chance of a pop-up shower into the north and west ends of the city. So if you're heading out and you want to enjoy a patio, maybe just stay underneath an umbrella. But the good news is it stays nice and warm as we get ready to wrap up our day. That humidex value into the mid-30s. So make sure you're hydrating as you spend some time outdoors. Heading into the weekend, it gets even hotter. It gets even more humid. So if you like that, we have more on tap as we head into the next few days. Coming up, I'll have a full look at your long-range forecast.
Well, another weekend in the summer is upon us, and it's looking glorious. I mean, we had some ugly weather this week. There were moments of, ooh, and now we can just put that behind us and enjoy what's to come.
Yeah, it almost was a surprise. I went for a walk this morning thinking it was going to be a little cloudy, maybe a little wet. It was none of the above.
Nah.
What a great day, a reminder how much we all love summer.
We have so few weekends in the summer season, right? And people want to get out and enjoy it, and this weekend is going to be fantastic. So if you're staying local, there are festivals everywhere. It feels like every single weekend in the summer. Or if you're going up to a cottage, Absolutely fantastic. But it is going to get really humid into Sunday. So if you do have outdoor plans or your work outside, just make sure you're hydrating properly and that sun protection is key. Weather is brought to you by the Presler Law Firm. Injury lawyers you don't pay unless they win. Now, it is a little hazy out there. We got that heat and humidity building back into the forecast, but you know what? It's not bad. After such a soggy mark to the middle of the week, we really do need that sunshine to help kind of dry things up and balance things out. We're sitting already at 27. It feels like 33 when you factor in the humidex and almost everywhere across central and southern Ontario, holding on to some humidex values into that low to mid 30 range. Today will be just above seasonal with our actual temperature, but that heat and humidity will have it feeling into the mid 30s for a good portion of our afternoon. And that's the same right around the Golden Horseshoe. Maybe you're heading up towards Cottage Country. Beautiful, but everybody's getting a little bit of that heat, so probably a good thing if you want to head out on the water. Now, temperature-wise this evening, we'll sit at 19, so we're still kind of in that sweet spot for pretty close to seasonal. And it's the same for almost everybody. We'll be at 15 through Waterloo. We should be at 14 there. Hamilton will be at 17, and the same out through Kingston with a little fog into the southwestern and eastern corners of southwestern Ontario. Throughout the rest of our day today, there's not much going on in the way of active weather. We're done with the remnants of whatever was left of Beryl, and we're looking at kind of being bookended by high pressure as we step into the next few days. So that means hot, dry, and really sunny conditions. Now, throughout the rest of our afternoon, it's not so bad out there. We'll see a decent amount of sunshine, and then as we get in towards the afternoon, there's a chance into the north and west end of the city that we could see maybe a pop-up shower. That's just thanks to all the heat and humidity building up, but nothing super organized, nothing like we saw on Wednesday. As we head into the early evening, we'll see that kind of push its way north and east of the city, and then it's gone. And we have a really clear and beautiful night ahead of us. Into the beginning of our weekend, a whole lot of sunshine, a whole lot of heat, and UV index is really high. So I know people want to take advantage of the beautiful summer weather that we have this weekend. Just make sure you're doing it safely. Some pop-up showers late morning in towards the London area, but for the most part, we are staying clear throughout the GTA and the downtown core of any active weather right throughout the weekend. Temperatures, it gets really nice. We're at 28 into the day tomorrow, 28 today, 29 into the day tomorrow, and then getting in towards the end of the weekend, the warmest of the days, and we're looking at about 31. So that means we'll be feeling into that mid to upper 30 range. So not quite heat warning criteria, but we're kind of on the verge. Heading in towards next week, the chance of some maybe spotty showers, but overall we're settling into a sunny stretch of days. I'll send things back over to Nathan and Michelle.
All right, thank you, Jess. It is summer, but one of the Toronto Maple Leafs' biggest stars is busy on the ice doing what he can to help others. The 6th annual Marner All-Star Invitational is underway. And for more on the event, we're joined by Leafs player Mitch Marner. Thanks for joining us, Mitch. I know there's a lot happening yesterday, or was happening, and also today. What's happening today?
Yeah, today's the on-ice event. So there's 4 different pads going on, 4 different events, and your team runs through all 4 pads, all 4 events. And at the end of the event, you get marked for your score. So there's a hardest shot, a relay race, and fastest skater, and then there's a little scrimmage pad. So at the end of it all, whoever the winner is of the total event of the day gets to come out and skate with me and the other pros for a little bit in the warm-up of our 3-on-3 game.
Right, sounds like a lot of fun. So how much has this event grown over the past few years?
Oh, massively. I mean, yeah, it's going into our 6th. This is our 6th year. You know, that's kind of been the really exciting thing, just seeing it grow every year, getting bigger and bigger. And then, you know, obviously the COVID season, when that happened, it still didn't slow us down. We still had some amazing donations and sponsors and help and volunteers just to keep it rolling. And, you know, it kind of was a little scary time there, just not knowing what the future might hold with that going on. But going into our 6th year and hopefully just keep it going for many more years. But it's grown a lot. It keeps getting bigger and bigger every year, and that's what you want these events to do.
Yeah, a lot of participation. Why did you decide you wanted to get involved in this?
Well, I always knew I wanted to do something in the community to help out. I mean, I've been born here, I've been raised here. This is my home, so you know, I've been lucky enough and you know, graceful enough that I've gotten a spotlight around me now, being in this market, and you know, I want to do something special with it. And reached out to Natasha after working with her a couple times, and she did some great charity work and said, you know, how can we start our own? I would like to start the Marner Assist Foundation. And you know, now we are 6 years later, and it's been just a blast working with her and her whole team. And you know, my family's been very helpful with it as well.
Yes, Natasha Barata does PR. She does a great job in this city with many charity events. Last night, you also held an auction. How did that go?
Yeah, the auction was great. The auction's always a lot of fun because, you know, I feel like you get it around 4 or 5 people that are constantly raising their hands, and everyone else is kind of just sitting around having fun, enjoying the watch. But yeah, we're not sure how much money we raised yet, but it was a great time. Everyone had a lot of fun. You know, that's what you want those to be. You want people to have fun at those cocktail events, you know, mingle around, talk to one another. It's also to build a relationship with other people maybe you didn't know or met, and that's kind of the special thing. And you get to meet the players, kind of talk to them for a couple minutes and just enjoy it.
You typically give a speech when it's over. Do you like public speaking?
I've learned to like it. It's last night I wasn't too nervous. I was kind of excited for it more so actually, which is great. And that's what you want it to be. And I've learned through the years, don't be nervous, just have fun with it, enjoy it, and kind of just speak from the heart. And that's kind of what it's been like. And slowly through the years, I've learned to public speak a little better and better. Obviously, as everyone knows, the market here, you got to be able to speak. So it's been a good learning process for me. And it's just the usual now.
Yeah, we all know the pressure. So how can people support the Marner Assist Foundation?
Yeah, just go to the Marner Assist Foundation.com. You can go down to the bottom. There's a link there to donate. And for next year, that's how you get your teams in. You got to go down, put a team in there, and they fill up quickly, and that's what we want. So we'll see about trying to get a little bit more people in next year, and try to keep growing the game and keep getting it bigger. But it's always just so enjoyable to come out here and see a smile on the face of these kids, and also to see what they do to us. It brings us back to the young ages, and having fun with them.
All right, Toronto Maple Leaf Mitch Marner, thanks so much for your time. All the best, and good luck with this upcoming hockey season. Take care.
Thanks a lot.
To baseball now, and the Blue Jays were looking to win their second straight series yesterday afternoon in San Francisco.
What part of the season it is? Spencer Horwitz lifts one deep right field, gone. And hit it on out of the ballpark, and a splash hit for Spencer Horwitz.
How satisfying. Spencer Horwitz put Toronto up 5-2 in the fifth inning. San Francisco would get one more, but that was all. The Jays are in Arizona tonight before the All-Star break begins. That game gets underway 9:40.
Maple Leaf Sports and Entertainment have parted ways with Bill Manning. He served as president of Toronto FC and the Toronto Argonauts. MLSE says Manning's exit was a mutual decision. Toronto FC has lost 6 straight in league play and winless in 9. The Argos are 3-2 now to start the CFL season.
Coming up, a multi-million-dollar cash injection was announced this week aimed at research to improve our healthcare system. We'll have details on how that money is going to be used after this short break.
A massive shot in the arm to support healthcare workers in Canada announced this week.
Yeah, we get the details from our health reporter, Pauline Chan.
The $47 million announcement was made at Princess Margaret and is aimed at research to improve our health system. It includes $22.5 million to study where the gaps are in healthcare staffing.
$13 million to the Medical Council of Canada to operate and expand the National Registry of Physicians to include a centralized location for physician data.
And there are other initiatives as well.
We're facing some really substantial challenges around workforce in health.
Dr. Monica Krzyzanowska, chief of Sunnybrook's Odette Cancer Center, says it's not just doctors and nurses.
We don't have enough techs to do imaging. We don't have, enough techs in the labs to do, to prepare specimens for pathologists to look at them after our patients had a biopsy.
$750,000 of the funding will be shared by 5 centers across Canada, each with a unique focus based on its own situation.
We're using the money from the grant to, number one, develop this training program, which we hope, if successful, could be scaled and spread in the coming years.
Krzyzanowska says part of the need is related to problems carried over from the pandemic, but it's more than that.
We've had many advances in cancer therapy, and as a result of that, many of our patients, even if they have advanced cancer, are living longer. And the treatments have toxicity, so the complexity of caring for patients undergoing treatment. So, we're at this time where, we have increased demand, there is increased complexity of care, and at the same time, the workforce is shrinking rather than expanding.
She hopes efficiencies learned from their research will shape the delivery of care, not just in Canada, but even in other countries facing the same problems. Pauline Chan, CTV News.
The world's population may peak before the end of the century. A report from the United Nations forecasts the global population will continue to grow from the current 8.2 billion to nearly 10.3 billion around 2080. But the UN is predicting after that peak, the population will begin to fall, partly due to fertility rates around the world dropping faster than expected. The report says the global fertility rate is currently 2.25 births per woman, one child less than in 1990.
The overall increase in the cost of living has many Canadian parents struggling to meet the needs of their children. There's been a 10% jump in the price of baby formula since the start of this year. CTV's Kathy Lee reports.
When the price for baby formula goes up, so does anxiety and stress for parents.
To go up by like $12 in the span of 7 months is a bit extreme. I've seen other brands doing it too, but it definitely seems like Similac is the worst.
In a statement to CTV News, Abbott, the U.S. company that makes baby formula brand Similac, says infant formula is very complex to produce and export. This makes it necessary to adjust for some of our increasing costs to serve Canadian families. Statistics Canada data shows the average price of baby formula jumped 30% between February 2022 and February 2024. Food safety issues at Abbott and Nestle plants created a supply issue driving up costs. And additional data from the agency shows formula has jumped up 10% during the first 5 months of this year.
We go to market and we use those donated dollars that we get to purchase baby formula. And so the cost for us on making sure that we have that in supply to feed those little Calgarians has really gone through the roof.
But it's not a supply issue driving up the price this time.
The currency is another issue. Transportation costs are another issue. Multiple factors that have actually made this product more expensive.
You end up with companies that have like a monopoly on it. Like you go to Walmart and there's basically only 3 brands of formula on the shelf and they can do whatever they want.
Perhaps there's relief for Canadian parents. Canada Royal Milk, a Chinese-owned manufacturer based in Kingston, Ontario, launched its own baby formula, the only one being produced in the country. Experts say adding a new baby formula product to the Canadian market may not reduce prices immediately, but it will likely decrease the chance of price increases by the end of the year. Kathy Lee, CTV News, Calgary.
Still to come, shares in a popular Canadian clothing chain is seeing a jump today. Details and the rest of your business headlines after the break.
Toronto's top stories, breaking news alerts, and watch live. Download the CTV News app.
Investors like the looks of the latest results from clothing chain Aritzia.
Andrew Bell of B&M Bloomberg brings us the latest in business.
Hello there. Here are your business headlines. Shares in apparel retailer Aritzia jumped 11% in morning trading after first quarter sales expanded 8% to just under $500 million, powered by a 13% increase in the U.S. And it sounds like the company is winning fans in some ritzy areas. A new store in Boca Raton, Florida has beaten expectations, with most of the customers new to the brand. Toronto stocks climbed further into record territory as the composite index topped 22,700. Gains in banks and conglomerate Brookfield lifted the market. Gold stocks also climbed as bullion traded over $2,400 US an ounce, near record highs. And finally, Canada's housing market is showing signs of strength amid anticipation of more interest rate cuts from the Bank of Canada. The benchmark home price climbed 0.1% in June from May to just under $718,000. It was the first monthly increase since August of last year, according to the Canadian Real Estate Association. And home sales were up almost 4% from May, the first monthly gain since January. That's the latest in business. I'm Andrew Bell of B&M Bloomberg.
Canadians lost more than $300 million to investment scams last year and another $150 million so far this year.
One of the most common ways investors lose money is cryptocurrency fraud after watching fake videos that have been manipulated with AI. CTV's Pat Foran has this consumer alert.
All of a sudden, I realized I was broke.
Giovanni Pugliano of Hamilton saw a fake video with Elon Musk that claimed he could start investing in cryptocurrencies with just a few $100s and eventually become rich.
Millions of users were able to close all their debts in the first week on the platform.
Puliano was scammed out of $17,000.
I need some help in regards to this because I've been scammed.
I feel like, boy, did I get scammed good and really hard.
Daryl Budnick of Mississauga saw a YouTube video claiming he could make money in cryptocurrencies. While it appeared his investments were going up, when he tried to take the money out, he couldn't. He was scammed out of $130,000.
It's scary to be in this position. I thought I was secure, and now I'm not.
So after I invest $1,200, like within 2 weeks, it can be go almost like $3,000.
Mohammed Haq of Brampton says he started investing after seeing a fake video with the Prime Minister that had been manipulated with AI.
We have developed an investment platform that we believe can help every Canadian safeguard their financial future.
Haq thought he had amassed $424,000 in his account, but it was empty. He was scammed out of $226,000.
The last moment I asked my daughter, she said, "Dad, this is totally a scam, Dad. You lose your all money."
I think it's challenging for the public to be able to determine what is legitimate and what is not.
The OPP released a warning saying investors are getting caught in cryptocurrency scams in record numbers. Victims are losing their homes and life savings.
We're seeing attempts for suicide. We're seeing elderly parents having to move in with their kids again. We're seeing people having to go to food banks.
All three victims who contacted CTV News wanted to share their story to warn others.
I ruined my life, actually, ruined my family life. I am in the dangerous situation, and I don't know how I recover from this situation, but I'm trying.
Pat Foran, CTV News.
TELUS has told about 150 employees they have to relocate from Barrie to Montreal or lose their jobs. TELUS says they're closing their Barrie office by October. The workers were also given the option of applying for another role or agreeing to be laid off. A TELUS spokesperson says financial support will be given to those who choose to relocate. The union calls the decision a backdoor termination in an attempt to reduce their headcount.
Canadians can now get their hands on Apple's flashiest new piece of technology. The Vision Pro, Apple's augmented reality headset, is making its debut today at all of the tech giant stores in Canada, France, Germany, and the UK. The headset isn't cheap. It carries a starting price of $5,000 Canadian. It welcomes users into a digital world fit for immersive experiences, browsing photos, participating in meetings, watching movies, and playing games. The device has garnered plenty of buzz in the year since it was unveiled, but has yet to proliferate in the same way other Apple gadgets have.
Another hit to shoppers' wallets. Costco is set to increase the annual price of its membership in the U.S. and Canada this fall.
Business and executive memberships will rise by either $5 or $10, a change which will impact about 52 million cardholders. CTV's Tyler Fleming explains.
Ali Hanan prefers Costco. For her, the warehouse carries every essential and more.
And also there is many deals, which I like it very much.
But starting September 1st, the retailer's individual membership fee will rise $5 to $65 a year.
Everything I need to return, it's easy for me, so I feel good with it.
Never say to anybody, I'm going to Costco, do you need anything?
Dave Denike did just that and has a trunkload of goods to prove it. He's an executive member, a membership which will now cost $130.
You know, businesses make their decisions. There's no being okay or not okay. There's the price and the choice.
And while executive card holders will also see their rewards increase too, Denike remains unsure about renewal.
I don't know. I'll have to look at the numbers.
Business memberships will also rise $5. This is the first time in 7 years Costco has raised its fee. And in March, the company began using digital card scanners on entry in an effort to crack down on non-members coming to shop. Retail analysts note the majority of Costco's profits comes from its membership fees, and that the increase aligns with heightened inflation.
Yeah, that's absolutely how they keep prices lower, is they are able to supplement their profits. A normal retailer who does not have membership fees is relying 100% on the gross margin they make off products they sell through their stores.
Last year, the mega retailer had nearly 130 million members. The fee increase could generate more than $1 billion in revenue.
I got the cucumbers, I got the peppers. It's easy. One-stop shopping is easier than running to 20 different stores.
And Gerald Keogh is confident he shops here enough to earn back the added $10 cost of his executive membership.
The fact of the matter is I get more than the membership cost at the end, so not a big deal.
That report from CTV's Tyler Fleming. A WestJet employee's chance encounter on a recent flight sure spiced up her life in a big way.
Pamela Nisbet has been working with the airline for nearly 2 decades, but she's never had an experience quite like this. CTV's Mark Villani explains.
Ready for work.
Pamela Nisbet has been putting on this scarf for 18 years, flying thousands of kilometers as a flight attendant with WestJet, from rocking out at Wembley Stadium to taking in the picturesque views of Japan. She's seen it all, and every pin on her travel map marks a new adventure.
I've just met so many people, and it's such a beautiful environment that we work in.
But when she's not working, Nisbet is dancing to her favorite song, Stop, by the Spice Girls. She's done it just about everywhere in the world as a way to spread a little joy.
I've done it in Hawaii, I've done it on top of the Empire State Building. We went to Carnew Street in Dublin where it was filmed and actually did the video.
That famous video has racked up millions of views since it came out 25 years ago, but this new TikTok version is getting plenty of traction too. Nisbet met Melanie C. from the Spice Girls on her flight from Calgary to London, England, where they shared a dance together on the plane. Mel C., also known as Sporty Spice, had performed the night before to kick off the Calgary Stampede.
I said, if you want to dance with me to that and do just one round of it, I said, I will be forever grateful. And she said, well, absolutely. I said, you're kidding.
But it was no joke, and the video has since hit nearly 800,000 views, including thousands of comments.
It actually just goes to show how well loved she actually is, because everybody's posting about her, and one of them thought I was Ginger Spice.
And this is a moment she will never forget. A dance with one of her musical heroes, sealing it off with a hug at 35,000 feet in the air.
It was crazy. It was so fun.
Mark Villani, CTV News, Calgary.
It hosted the 1976 Summer Olympic Games and more recently the Montreal Expos and Alouettes. Now the iconic roof of Montreal's Stade Olympique is undergoing renovations. The province announced in February an $870 million project to replace the aging roof. The original price tag 7 years ago was $250 million, adding to the stadium's nickname of the Big O. The white canvas covering is being stripped away, and next steps will include dismantling the blue canvas interior and taking down the metal support structure.
Coming up, international students converge on Toronto for a self-driving car competition. That story after the break.
Well, you could call it a race to the future.
University students are putting self-driving technology in the fast lane in a one-of-a-kind competition. CTV's John Musselman has the story.
You are looking at incredibly complex model cars built by university students that are incorporating sensor fusion and the latest advances in artificial intelligence. The cars are making real-time decisions like identifying traffic lights while navigating this indoor course.
This is very important because the future is here. The future is here. Self-driving cars are on the way, and we need to disseminate internationally what the technology is required and the safety features required in running self-driving cars and incorporating AI technology into these self-driving cars.
Students from 8 universities around the globe are participating. Organizers set up a course inside the Weston Harbor Castle Hotel.
They're very competitive, but the nice thing is you can sort of see they've been also collaborating. So it's an international group. They're students from all over the world, so they are here to compete, but they're also here to learn and grow and work together.
A team from York University represented Canada. Their vehicle completed 3 successful laps.
Our team name is Full Throttle SDC. The reason is that that's a car racing. We want to try run our car as fast as possible.
Oh yeah, I'm still shaking. We just had our 5-minute actual test, and a lot can go wrong in 5 minutes. Even during the practice rounds, sometimes you just can't connect to the car, or it doesn't drive where you think it will right away.
Experts say autonomous vehicles will make our roads safer by eliminating human error, and it will improve traffic flow. This participant from San Antonio, Texas, says it could even help Toronto's traffic one day.
I think so. I experienced it coming up from Pearson. Yeah, it probably would help.
There's a lot of accidents every day on highways, and I think if we sort of perfect the autonomous vehicle, then we can really have a big impact on people's lives.
In the end, a team from Czech Technical University in Prague won it. The team from York University finished second. John Musselman, CTV News.
Well, if you can, this is a day to drive with the top down, open the windows, hit up the water. I'm sure it'll be a lot cooler there, too.
I saw top downs on some cars this morning, passing them on the highway. It's a beautiful day. We're kind of getting into the beginning of what's not going to be a heat event, but we do see steady temperatures climbing right throughout the weekend. So if you have plans outside, just make sure you're preparing yourself accordingly. Not much going on in the way of active weather for now. Just a little bit of heat and humidity bubbling some things up across southern Ontario, but more of a spotty shower to kind of help temporarily cool you down. We're sitting at 27. It feels like 33, and the heat is on as we head throughout the weekend. Now, if you're heading up to the cottage, it's looking pretty nice. The chance of some showers as we head throughout the day today through cottage country, but pretty brief and really nice. As we head throughout the rest of the next 7 days, we're holding on at or above seasonal, so I'll take it.
All right, me too. Thank you, Jess. And that is CTV News at noon. Remember, you can get Toronto's breaking news all day long on CP24 and at our website, ctvnewstoronto.ca.
For Jessica Smith and all of us here at CTV News, have a pleasant afternoon. I'm Michelle Dubé.
And I'm Nathan Down. And be sure to join us later for CTV News at 5 and 6. Have a great day.